Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to SVR's S2 division for round 3 feature race here at Tokyo Expressway. I'm Webbo and very happy to be with you as usual. Taking a look at the qualifying results from the feature race then sees Biggerwood qualifying on the back of the grid for Team Cyan Racing with Igala's Nintendo on P13 on the back row, with Liquid Gecko just ahead for Team Rosa Racing in the 12th position. Michelle Keefe for SVR. For SVR, for PSV Racing's gold and black beautiful livery there in the SF23. John P in the Hector Motorsports entry starts 10th alongside his teammate number 60, Joe Gon Sim. In 9th, we've got AMAC in 8th, followed by Thump in 7th for PSV. Yank the Tank, our most recent feature race winner, starts in P6. We have Jailhouse Chris in 5th place on the medium tyres. I've forgotten to look at all the tyres, so we'll find that out on the way through. Soft tyres for SirGrinch, who starts here in P4. And just a note of personal mention to SirGrinch, my sympathies for his grandma Grinch, and for the fact that she was so kind to make me her favourite commentator. So love and best wishes to all the Grinch family for this tough time. But racing for Grandma, so Grinch lets me know. So that's fantastic. So anyway, we've got Scavvy in P3 for Bro Carga. Getting ready to get underway. On the front row, though, is our replay sharer and session host, I believe, Senor Dude, who qualified in P2. Nigel Mansnail, making it a very successful qualifying session, at least, for the Bro Carga team. Getting ready then for this 24-lap feature race, which is significantly shorter than the S1 division. Soft tyres for Nigel, Senor Dude, Scavvy, and SirGrinch starting at the front here. We've got Jailhouse Chris on the mediums, as I mentioned. Yank the Tank may well be able to get past Jailhouse Chris. It's a short run to turn 1, but a long run to turn 2 for the drivers. Thump in on the softs. Looks like a good mix of soft and medium tyres. AMAC on the mediums. Jogon Sim has chosen the softs to start, and so has his teammate John P, with Michelle Keefe, Liquid Gecko, Nintendo, and Biggerwood. So just a couple drivers really out on the medium tyres to start our race underway. So we'll get ready for a midnight race around the streets of Tokyo. I hope we'll see some drifting action. But yeah, let's get ourselves underway then for this fabulous S2 divisional round 3 of the championship. So the 5 red lights are on. The bullet trains will be continuing to operate. And it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. A long hold there. The second of the Bro Carga cars, Scavvy straight up into P1 as the drivers will go side by side, 3 wide possibly, in towards this left-hand turn 1, which is quite quick, and the barriers come up to greet you in a very, very aggressive manner. This is SirGrinch fighting to hang on to P4 with Thump on his outside, Jailhouse Chris on his inside possibly, certainly looking to make headway into this first really big stop into the dockyards. Come our fantastic S2 drivers in these really powerful turbo-operated SF23s, and Yank the Tank, but it's Nigel Mansnail turning pole into P9, and there's a problem. I think it was Jailhouse Chris who's gone round as well. Let's have another look at this, as Jailhouse Chris simply cannot get control of this car on these narrow Tokyo streets. Let's go on this view and see if Jailhouse Chris lost it on his own. There's a couple of touches from Keefe on the inside. He goes wide for the outside run, so do several drivers in front of him. Oh, he's pitched into, and he's sandwiched between several runners there. He turns in on another driver on the Hector Motorsports car, and then it is just an absolute melee as he tries to recover. Cars hitting him left, right, centre. Oh wow, that's massive for Jailhouse Chris. I would not be surprised if a driver decided that was it, because Jailhouse Chris now has the ignominy of trying to perform a 17-point turn on this narrowest section of these streets. Absolutely terrible, and with every contact in the barrier, it's further damage to the car. That is a strategy completely out the window, but meanwhile the race continues on. Here down into the big stop, onto the hairpin with the pit lane entry on your outside, comes our leader Scavvy on the soft tyres ahead of Senor Dude, who has survived that one, and so did SirGrinch. Look at the Grinch go here in P3. Fantastic. He was telling me that this was his debut last year at Tokyo. Different configuration, but he finished 3 laps down in his debut race. And here he is, gunning for P3 at this stage and hungry for more, I'm sure. Senor Dude just tried to avoid the barriers on the way through, out of there with Monsieur Keith in 4th. Thump surviving as well in P4. Yank the Tank looking very, very strong as always, and spamming that boost button early as always as well. Here we go, in towards the left-hander of turn 1 of this second lap of the 24. And yet the Tank is already up a position into P5 on those soft tyres, and trying to get into P4 with Monsieur Keith right there. He's got one of the PSV Racing entries. He's going for the other one. He'll be warned about this from Thump, as we've got side-by-side action. Grinch on the outside round the docks here. Monsieur Keith on the inside with Yank the Tank on the outside, left out to dry. Will he be able to squeeze back into the inside line on the one left-hander in the dockyard? Not quite. We're heading in towards red corner now, and they're going to have to sort themselves out, because that is strictly single file through there, and they did sort themselves up. Thump rescuing that position in his Porsche Power SF23 behind him. Yank the Tank, and now Jogon Sim trying to capitalise on Yank the Tank's lost momentum through that section. The drivers will be basically playing boost chicken out here, trying to force each other to use their boost without using too much themselves. Scavvy, Senor Dudes, and SirGrinch make it a North American top 8, in fact, here. Biggerwood, though, up from the back, the British driver, up into P9 as well. Nigel Mansell, though, unfortunately, down to P10. So it has been a mixed bag of fortune cookies for the drivers as they come through, if I'm not mixing my analogies too much. Yank the Tank in P6, holding on ahead of Jogon Sim and Liquid Gecko. All these drivers on the soft tyres. It looks like softs were the way to go to gap the field here early doors. And it's Nintendo on the softs, who's lost a bit of his front wing performance. Amax in the pits for Rosa Racing. That is a very pink pit crew there, with John P in 13th and Jailhouse Chris at the back of the grid, having made a pit stop, unfortunately, and looking to perform a huge undercut now. Scavvy back to the lead of the race. Scavvy and Senor Dude are continuing then. We've got SirGrinch continuing to threaten, but Senor Dude putting himself in a great position there to defend a move coming from the Grinch, of course, who's trying to steal whatever places he can get behind him. Monsieur Keith with a small gap now developing between himself and Thump, and then Yank the Tank as things start to settle down among our rocket ship drivers here. It's Yank the Tank in P6. These SF23s, I don't have personal experience of racing these around these streets, but I have raced a single seater around the streets of Tokyo. But we don't talk about that race day. Here comes Jogon Sim around the outside of Liquid Gecko. Now it becomes the inside. This is heading down towards that really, really big stop hairpin, and I've seen moves work on the inside, the outside, the switchback. It's just that kind of a corner. Absolutely welcomes the drivers to have a go. Jogon Sim will have limited traction performance on the outside, on the inside exit of the corner, and they continue to go side by side. Joe will have to try and hold on here in towards red corner, and he does hold on, in fact, and a little bit of boost, I think, has been expended in so doing, but through the S's now, and it's really hard to time your throttle and your run through there. And there goes Liquid Gecko, hitting the wall and suffering a little bit of right front damage then, as he managed to avoid the front wing, but did tag the barrier into there, with Biggerwood doing a fantastic job in comparison to his qualifying, up to P9 then during lap 4, the start of lap 4. Anyway, Nigel Mansell in 10th, Nintendo back in 11th place. We have Amac in 12th, John P in 13th, and he and Jailhouse Chris will need to try and find a way to work together here and slipstream their way back towards the front of the grid. But there's a huge gap between them and our fighters. So Grinch has gained a position. In fact, for a moment there, he was first. Let's just hop back to see SirGrinch. Here he is. Looked like a slow exit out of the corner from Senor Dude, who has damaged the car, unfortunately. SirGrinch pouncing on the opportunity, hitting that boost button and getting away then, who will then boost his way all the way down these Tokyo streets. And will there be an opportunity then? Look at this. Boost, boost, boost. Absolutely hitting it hard. I don't know if he's got confused and it's a sprint race again, because that's a lot of boost expended into the first for a moment there as we head into the dockyards, but he's on the outside once again. It does seem like it really helps the drivers to hold on to the inside line throughout that triple right-hander. But Grinch then back and doing incredibly well. But is he using too much boost at this stage? He's about drawn level on the boost usage with Scavvy, who he's got in front of him. They have absolutely left Senor Dude for dead. And with that damage on Senor Dude's Mega Racing car, the only upside is that he's got the soft tyres on and can get rid of those on the earlier side on the strategy. But 4 laps into a 24-lap race, that's nobody's plan A. So Senor Dude losing time hand over foot. That is huge damage, you have to say. 156 miles an hour. And I was trying to compare 169, 170 for the car following Senor Dude at that point. And there he's just made the decision, you know, I am so far down on performance. There is no point hanging on here. We'll try and flip the switch, change the strategy round. Jogon Sim ahead of Liquid Gecko, 6th and 7th, with Biggerwood in 8th. Senor Dude then dropping back behind this group, and he went into the pit lane. I'm sure he went into the pit lane. But he appears to have not changed tyres. No, he's repaired the car only, stayed on the soft tyres for a shorter pit stop. Obviously, no refueling here in our single-seater divisions this season. Nigel Mansell in 10th, Nintendo in 11th, AMAC 12th, Jailhouse Chris and John P. Jailhouse Chris has got ahead of John P here. John P switching to the mediums. He'll try and use the slipstream on Jailhouse Chris for as long as he possibly can. Jailhouse Chris saving a lot of his boost though right now, as SirGrinch has made it into the lead of the race, and I'm going to have to go back and find out when that was completed, because that is a change for the lead while we were reviewing the progress of the rest of the field. Is it just boost once again? It is just boost once again on the long snaking run down towards the hairpin. And this time he timed it so that he would get significantly well ahead before the braking zone, can choose his own line, leaves the possibility of a dive bomb, but Scavvy, a much more sensible driver than a dive bomb merchant, and he settles in then and will look for his opportunities to try and regain a position and get that lead back. But now the lead is SirGrinch ahead of Scavvy and Monsieur Keefe, with Thump back in P4. The 2 PSV Racing drivers in 3rd and 4th positions, with Yank the Tank biding his time here. Didn't spend much of the first part of the Fuji race in the lead, but he slowly trusted his strategy, and once again getting through here past Thump, who is not really fighting hard. He's quite happy to watch Yank use his boost, firing through the left-hand turn 1 they go. Now he'll try and use the boost to just catch that toe and then save the fuel and save the boost, I would imagine, on Yank the Tank. But Yank the Tank likewise is trying to get away from Thump and then make it a 2-horse battle for P3 with Monsieur Keefe in front. I'm sure Yank the Tank filled with confidence after securing his first win last race out. So very interesting to see an all-new, fully confident and committed and successful Yank the Tank. Fantastic. Here comes Jogon Sim in P6 with Liquid Gecko not far behind. Just a little wiggle on the way out of the corner. I think Gecko has got that front right damage on the car, but it shouldn't be too significant. It's suspension damage only, not aerodynamic at this stage. But if anyone survives the Tokyo streets without a lick of damage, I think they're doing an incredible job. It'd be a big surprise to see nobody hit any kind of curbstone. You don't tend to hit the barriers here. It's usually the curbs because they line the streets. Senor Dude in 10th, Nintendo in 11th, AMAC ahead of Jailhouse Chris and John P at the back. Then just running through the docks on lap 5. Look at the gulf of performance difference between Jauhas Chris, John P and the rest of the leading field. We've definitely split our grid as SirGrinch is looking absolutely fantastic out there, and he's not using his boost right now, so he used quite a bit to get into the lead, and now he's managed to get some clear air. He's not needing to do battle with the dirty air effect on the wings, and he can really start managing the car and make this into the minimal tyre stop strategy he can possibly run. And that might mean 2 sets of softs and a medium. It might mean a set of hards after his softs. We'll see exactly how the drivers get through. That last lap, a 140.5 for SirGrinch, 141.1 from Scavvy, and a 140.6 for Mushorkiv, who is operating at a 1/10 deficit to SirGrinch at this stage on the most recent lap 5. But looking pretty good out there, and looking like he's in a great position. This is Yank the Tank following Thump. Let's see Yank's view of life at the wheel, as he'll be checking his mirrors, I would imagine. Shame we can't see his POV, but check out Yank the Tank on YouTube. I'm sure he'll put his highlights from his VR POV on after the race. So we'll have a look as we head down into this hairpin. Crackling throttle overrun. Now, you might think Yank should have avoided there, but that did look like Thump was very, very much slower at the apex than Yank was expecting him to be. Thump holding a tighter line and having to therefore be that little bit slower, but I think Thump being careful now on the tyres on the exit. If recent races are anything to go by, I think Thump is being a little bit more circumspect when it comes to thrashing the tyres until they completely let go on him. We've got a little bit of action going on here between Biggerwood and Liquid Gecko. Biggerwood getting up to 7th now. Remember, he started dead last, 14th place, lap 7. Biggerwood, new to the SF23 this season, and has managed to gain on half the field on the soft tyre starting strategy here. Biggerwood looking very good, and probably keeping in touch with SirGrinch, who they've been training together with their engineer as well, and I'm sure the engineer is giving him information and perhaps where he's a little bit quicker, where he's a little bit slower than Grinch. It's currently circulating at about 0.8 of a second slower than Grinch was on lap 5 and 6, but that should be good enough to bring him forward. What chance of a Biggerwood podium do we think right now? Liquid Gecko in P8, Nigel Mansnell in 9th, and Senor Dude in 10th. We've got AMAC in 11th, Nintendo very much on his own there in no man's land in P12. Huge gap behind to Jauhas Chris and John P. John P has not let Jauhas Chris get away. Scavvy pits from the P3 out there. So Scavvy, from formerly the leader of the race, now dropping down as Yank the Tank pits with him on the same lap. And SirGrinch has protected these tyres fantastically, given that this is the anniversary, essentially, of his run with us in SVR when he started. That is a big deal to have been able to protect the tyres at this point and hold the lead of the race. So look at the beautiful gold metallic paint on the PSV racing cars, flashing with the fantastic street lights here in Tokyo. It looks absolutely cinematic, doesn't it? For a hot minute there. Fantastic. So Mushorkiv in P2 has used that front left a lot more than SirGrinch. How do you protect that? There's a limit, but clearly some drivers are able to do it. So it's about turning on the right-handers. It's about lifting mid-corner and not accelerating during a fast-flowing high G corner and waiting until the car is straight. But ultimately, soft tyres will go off very quickly. We're on lap 8 of the 24. Am I getting this right? 1/3 distance? Yeah, about 1/3 distance. So it's possible that a one stop is on here for any driver that can take this through to the end of this lap, or possibly into the 9th lap on the soft tyres. They can switch out onto the mediums and hopefully bring this home very, very comfortably. Liquid Gecko still carrying that suspension damage, but it's probably only going to hurt him in the corner suspension damage, rather than the aero damage that we've seen on other drivers who obviously then lose top speed as well. But into the pits comes Liquid Gecko, Thump, Mush O'Keefe all together as Scavvy looks to perform the undercut here. Very short pit lane, and Mush O'Keefe is already coming out of the pit lane, and it's right with Scavvy, who manages to stop the chance of losing a position on Mush O'Keefe, who they've both gone on to the mediums from the soft tyres. Scavvy in P3, Mush O'Keefe in P4. That's going to be a huge relief for Scavvy because he was circulating on cold mediums while Mush O'Keefe was on for an in-lap on the used soft tyres that were up to temperature. And look at Scavvy disappear right now. I don't know if that is using the boost to make that work. SirGrinch still out there and probably still has another lap of usable life in these soft tyres. He is doing a fantastic job, as is Joe Gone Sim, who has not pitted yet either. He's now in P2, Joe, and he fires on through past our camera position there. And we wait then to see how the rest of the field come through. Looks like Yank the Tank has come out behind Thump as he was before. No big change there. Mansnail in P7 has not pitted yet. Biggerwood has pitted and is out on mediums, and unfortunately Biggerwood has had the first of what I hope is one spill as he heads into the docks on those cold tyres, asking a lot of the tyres into the marbles, and then it's throttle on in the marbles. Biggerwood, I think, that's caused that one, and unfortunately, then we're gonna burn up those rear tyres again on the restart there. So Liquid Gecko getting by, so a bit of a setback for Biggerwood. AMAC in 10th on newer medium tyres, picking up a track limit penalty, which is pretty much only possible in the docks by going over the white lines. Everywhere else there are curbstones stopping you from getting those penalties. And Senor Dude then with the pace for pole position. Senor Dude with a hell of a job to do here. He's changed tyres now, and after just repairing damage on that previous pit stop, so it's his second pit stop, but only his second set of tyres that has now been switched onto. Senor Dude in P11. A lot of misfortune, I think he's praying for the cars in front, of course, minus his teammate. Jailhouse Chris is in P13. It's looking very, very bad for Team Mega at this stage. There's John P in 14th. SirGrinch then in the lead of the race still, and we wait for his first pit stop, and he's deep into lap 10 right now. He's got the red corner, the long drag down towards the hairpin, and I would imagine that it's time to head into the pits. His lap 9 was not significantly different to his lap 8, but I wonder if his lap 10 in lap will be telling him that it is time to pit. Of course, you get those little sector times, and you're always checking, especially when you're on your own here, you're checking whether how far off your ultimate best you are, and talking with your engineer, whether that's Hector or a human engineer, and deciding what is the best course of action. He is refusing the pit lane again, SirGrinch. Wow. So he's quite happy on those. We'll see if Joe Gone Sim, goes pits. Let's see. I think he is into the pit lane. Joe Gone Pit into the pits then, and he will change off those medium tyres. His last lap again. I can't see. I'll check on that in a minute. Oh, we've got some problem here between Yank and Michel and of course Thump. Let's have a look then. This is down into the hairpin with the pit lane entry. He's positioned himself on the outside, hits the brakes, goes for the switch back again. I'm not. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's have another look from Thump's perspective, but and maybe from behind, but. That felt to me like Thump wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it as well. He wanted the conventional, the sort of middle of the road line here, and then instead of trusting to the outside, I don't know. You have to let me know in the live chat or the comments what you felt about that move. We'll have a look what the stewards felt if it eventuates that way. I would imagine Yank won't care too much because there's no damage and he's got by. As long as Thump doesn't get by him later in the race, Yank's probably got bigger fish to fry up in front of him. But that was a bit of a mix-up there. Yank going for the switchback, and Thump just wanting the middle of the road, the permanent entry, mid-corner and exit, and kind of steering across and changing line, maybe late corner through the hairpin. I don't know. Very difficult to rule on that one. Jogon Sim in 6th, Liquid Gecko in 7th, and Nigel Mansnail in 8th. I would say that we did see Thump on a similar line out of that hairpin earlier on and struggling to get the power down. So maybe that is part and parcel of what's going on here. Difference of line setup and car performance through that hairpin. Anyway, Nigel Mansnail looking good in the 81 at the moment. He had a problematic start to the race. He's slowly picking off drivers here. Wow, I don't know where Liquid Gecko went. I think he's gone to load up on one of the ships here in the dock. Let's have a look for Liquid Gecko. What was this line all about? Okay, so it was a bit of a exit stage left situation, and he's trying to turn in, and there's just understeer city. It's the damage. Okay, so damaging the car in the first hit, and then unfortunately the car would not perform as it did previously with that aero damage, and he ended up with a huge amount of understeer. And a second tag on the barrier. Biggerwood in 9th on those new tyres. His gap less than a tenth to his absolute fastest on the soft tyres, Biggerwood, on this particular new lap, now lap 11 for Biggerwood. He's chasing down Liquid Gecko in front. Have we got any drivers yet to pit? I imagine we have, who started on the mediums. Oh, we've got some more action going on. It's late. Yank the Tank on Thump once again. So Thump has contrived to get his way by once again. Yank the Tank. Another huge battle between these two then continues. Yank using some boost. I think they've both overspent on their boost compared to the fact that we're only halfway through this race. And Yank then using the slipstream only at this stage. He'll be once bitten, twice shy following Thump through the hairpin, I would imagine. And Thump making his intentions very clear on the inside line. Yank getting every last bit of slipstream that he possibly can. Now, how do we tackle this one? It's a switch back through the first part of the docks, but unfortunately, the speed differential is too little for Yank to get that switchback working. Thump making life very, very difficult for Yank the Tank here. And anyone who watched Nürburgring Adrian Newey division race from my team's perspective last year will know how difficult Thump will make life. Whether whether Yank is quoting Pat Finn right now or not, I'm not entirely certain. I don't think this stage of the season that's very likely. Monsieur Keefe in P3, Scavvy in 2nd place, and SirGrinch leading the charge. He's still on the soft tyres, SirGrinch. Another 141.2. He even went faster in lap 11 than he did in lap 10. SirGrinch is floating on air and having an absolutely fabulous race right now. And it's great to see the ramp up in performance that you get from drivers committing to their setup, committing to learning, and of course, being paired with new drivers to learn new things for a new 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship. I can't imagine he's going to stay out after this lap, but we'll see. So Grinch over the painted truck parking points and temporary removal of those containers at the docks as he heads then through and into the red corner, straight out of it again. He's leaving a good gap to the barriers as well. Is Grinch, a 40.4 that previous lap. No one has taken the soft tyres further than Sir Grinch, and he's still faster than Scavvy on new tyres, and that will make for some sobering watching for the rest of the field at this stage. Middle of lap 13 here on the soft tyres for Grinch. Monsieur Keefe on his new mediums on P3. Thump likewise in 4th place. Jogon Sim in 5th. Now Yank has had a problem. Yank has hit the barrier at some stage. I'm sorry, Yank. I think that's kind of important for our championship leader. Here he is. Once more. Tell me it's not in that hairpin. Please tell me it's not in the hairpin between himself and Thump. Oh, Yank losing it on his own. Traction oversteer into the barrier. Oh, that's horrible for Yank, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a big one. Yank down in 6th then with damage on the car. No scheduled further pit stop, but he could, if his lap time suffers significantly, he could pit and put soft tyres on and hope for a sprint at the end of the race. But it could blow our championship lead wide open going into round 4. Biggerwood in 8th. Senor Dude then in 9th place on a huge recovery. Props to Senor Dude because after that first lap incident, I think we may have decided to quit out. SirGrinch pits more than halfway through the race on the soft tyres. That's heroic from Grinch. Love to see it. Looks like AMAC is on the on his first set of tyres. He's in P10. Successful, very successful sprint race for the Rosa Racing group. And there he is then with Liquid Gecko. Very successful sprint for the Team Rosa Racing pairing, but it's not been quite so rosy in this feature race length. They of course got the advantage of starting at the front, and that makes the world of difference on a tight and twisty, accident-prone circuit like a street circuit around gorgeous Tokyo. Nintendo in 12th, John P in 13th, and Jailhouse Chris in 14th. One big, I don't really believe in manifestation, but if I can put something out there in the universe, I would love for us as SVR to go to Tokyo one day as an end of season party and drive the Nugget. IRL, that would be something. So Grinch leading the race then on his new medium tyres. He has pitted, come out in front of Scavvy, and now it's just a battle with himself. How do you approach this as a leader of the race? How do you think about what stages there are to go through in your mind? Do you think, okay, I need to just hold on, or do you think, as SirGrinch is doing, I want fastest lap? Yank's got it right now. Screw Yank, I'm going for fastest lap time after time as the fuel burns off. Yank the tank, 140.304. SirGrinch out in the lead, maximum attack, and we'll see if he manages to continue securing this fastest lap attempt then out through the hairpin. The lap is finishing out now. He's dropping his boost. He's using his boost. Why? Because he wants that fastest lap. He's nearly 0.4 of a second up on Yank's fastest. So we'll see him through the S's. Don't get too greedy, Grinch, and drop it. Let's see. Final corner we go. So Grinch, this is lap 14 of the 24. The mediums will never be this good. And there you have it. A 5.5 of a second improvement on the fastest lap, at 39.736. And that's just going to focus the mind of Grinch as he goes to bring this to a close. Sometimes it's the absolute best thing. The last thing you want to do is switch off as a driver or change your approach once you're leading. Don't adjust a working system, so to speak. Obviously, you're not in a position where you'll likely be taking risks. He may, I was going to say, have to lap some drivers, but I think perhaps not through the remaining 10 laps of the race. Mushokif in 3rd, ahead of his teammate Thump, who has cleared now any trouble from behind. Thump had a long battle with Yank, but very much has managed to bring that to a conclusion now, I think. Not all down to him. The highly banked red corner we go through as we then build the speed and look for the best exit possible, the straightest line through these winding Tokyo streets, with Jogon Sim in P5, Nigel Mansnell in 6th, and there is Yank the Tank then down in 7th place, living with the damage for now. He was operating on the 41s and it's been 46 and 45s. How much is that going to add up over the next 10 laps if he's dropping 4 seconds a lap? That's 40 seconds. That is going to easily make a pit stop worth it. But of course, the longer you stay out and hope for the best, the less that a pit stop is then going to be worth it in the end. Personally, I think right now, with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of being a neutral observer, I would have pitted at the first hot lap that was registering at 4 seconds or 5 seconds slower than my best, but I don't know what I'm doing. I just talk about it. Anyway, Biggerwood in P8. I try not to be a critic. Biggerwood in P8. picking up a penalty there, presumably through the dockyards, or a barrier collision. I think he's not got damage, so unlikely to have been one catastrophic hit with the barrier. There is the penalty being taken. This will be the view of AMAC as he passes Biggerwood. I can't see with the camera quite the distance there for Biggerwood, but AMAC thinking, well, let's get away from Biggerwood here. Let's break the toe. Use the boost now, rather than have to use it in defence later. Let's use it now and kind of attack our way away from Biggerwood, so to speak. Beautiful camera angle here of the run, and we get a very, very clear view of what's going on with Biggerwood in the mirrors there. Let's have a quick recheck of that one. This is so low grip on those painted surfaces. I don't know if the temperatures are dropping, or this is a consequence of the tyres cooling, or what it is for Biggerwood, but round the dockyard area, that is very, very tough to take. Biggerwood in P9. He's had 2 significant scares this race, and you'll hope that third time is very much not the charm. Liquid Gecko in 10th, Nintendo is in 11th place. Nintendo, the driver who committed to not only buying a shirt from my merch store first, but also for joining my channel, joining Team Webbo as a member. And he's honing in, I should say, on his anniversary as a Team Webbo member over on my channel, Webbo Red 5, and a big thank you to Nintendo for that faith and commitment. John P in 12th, Senor Dude in 13th. AMAC finally pits with 8.5 laps to run here. Jailhouse Chris in 14th, at the back of the grid, but is using this, I think, to learn more and more about how to best manage a stint on the tyres, and just hope really that someone else has a problem this race. SirGrinch, 39.7, the ultimate best, and he's waiting, I think, now to use some boost on his final lap attempt, perhaps when the car is at its absolute lightest. Save the tyres. He will have plenty of tyre grip for that final lap, fastest lap attempt, I would imagine, as he runs through. Scavvy looking good though, although dropping a little bit of time on that previous lap. No damage on the car, so it wasn't a big deal. Just a minor slowdown for Scavvy. Scavvy, another driver who is a big supporter of my channel, and a big thank you. If you do want to support SVR as well, obviously there are great ways that you can financially support, either one-off or on an ongoing basis. It really helps us to budget if you can. Give just a small amount every month. Check out our website for how to do that and be made famous with your support. Picture on the website as well. So big thank you to all our supporters here, and you can also buy yourself some merch from either of the stores I've mentioned there. Be very grateful, and we'd love to see your t-shirts out in the wild with photos, perhaps enjoying a trackside race, or perhaps just a brewski. It's Biggerwood in 7th, following Nigel Mansell. The Brits looking a little bit better than things did earlier on. It's a very North America heavy division, S2, but the 2 Brits who are not in the same team, Nigel Mansell in the Brokaga team, Biggerwood here for Cyan Racing in the 25. Big prominent Webbo sticker there on the engine cover for the Cyan Racing team. A big thank you for that. Here comes Liquid Gecko and Yank the Tank. Yank the Tank using some boost. He's down on to his red light over the roll hoop. That means he's down into his final 20% of his boost battery allowance. It doesn't tail off. It's the same amount of deployment all the way through to the end, but it also does not regenerate like you see the hybrid cars. And he's using that boost to now try and get that track position. A beautiful overtake from Yank the Tank there, right down into the docks. We'll perhaps even have another look at that, because I did embarrass Yank there a moment ago with a view of his Spinella, but on the recovery, yeah, made that one stick very nicely. A classic overtake from him. Let's see if Biggerwood manages to get through the docks a little bit gentler. Sorry, Biggerwood. A little bang into the barrier there, but he is trying to protect the tyres as well, because he stopped very early in comparison to Yank the Tank in front. I think There was a stop on the camera there for a moment. Our camera not being able to switch over to Liquid Gecko. I thought perhaps he'd run into trouble. 6.5 laps remain then of our feature race here at S2, round 3 of the VR Sim Racing World Championship, second division in our single seaters. Of course, we have the rookie division as well, racing on the same weekend. And then coming up, we will have round 3 of the GT3 car division, so-called G1 and G2. Coming up for you very, very soon with a break for Easter. John P in P11 with Liquid Gecko in the pits right now, and that it must be an unscheduled pit stop. That's a second set of mediums, I want to say, for Liquid Gecko. Certainly the car is not with damage now after the pit stop, but why switch? No, he has gone onto the softs. It was just the pit stop delay for GT7. Race control not giving us accurate information until they've left the pit lane. So my bad on that one. It's SirGrinch leading the race. 42.004 for SirGrinch. Let's try and grab ourselves a 007 next time round. Grinch, he's on his lap 19 of the 24, and he's got a good lead over Scavvy. Lap time dropping off a little bit right now. He's actually used a bit of that boost, so he hasn't left himself any for the end of the race. Scavvy's got plenty of boost left for the end of the race. Is it possible that with that difference between the two cars, we're looking at about 4 seconds, an estimate here, then possibly with 5 laps to go, and the amount of boost that Scavvy has held on to, could he bring this all the way to a win in the end and take it away from Grinch? Let's wait and see. Of course, Mushakif in P3 looks like he is out of contention for the win, but very much in contention for the podium here. His teammate can still see him, of course. Thump. There's a dot in the horizon, but what Thump will see more than anything is the sparks flying on the back of Mushakif's car. Through the first left-hander we go. Full throttle, of course, all the way to the braking zone of the right-hander. In fact, you can see the braking marker boards of the section of the track that you then cross back over from the red corner up in the air there on the way through. Into the docks we go. Thump might still be thinking of taking the podium away from his teammate. I'm sure it's too early for team orders here at the S2 Championship. Only race 3 of 12. It's Jogon Sim in P5. And we've got Nigel Mansnell there in that 6th position. Is Biggerwood still in 7th? He is not, because Yank the Tank overtook him into the docks. We saw that. So the Brits not together anymore. As Yank the Tank will try and bottle P7 and take this home as damage limitation for his championship lead, which may well go begging after this round. Perhaps we'll catch up with that if all the race results are in and confirmed. Here is Biggerwood in P8 and Nintendo in 9th with Senor Dude. It's a good close battle going on. Senor Dude bring himself up to P10 now on that change-up strategy. John P in 11th, and he's gone for a wolf front of the helmet as well in simpatico with the Mercedes team. Can Senor Dude see the back of the Agala car of Nintendo in front? Only just on these long straightaways, but it is Nintendo who is closing in here on Biggerwood. And we know Biggerwood has got some difficulties going through these slower corners. Biggerwood, plenty of boost left on the car, so maybe the top speed will benefit for Biggerwood for the Cyan Racing team. His engineer will be coaxing him through this final portion of our fantastic Tokyo Expressway south counterclockwise configuration round of the championship. We were here at the Nugget last season. Thankfully, we've left that behind us. Nintendo in P9. You can really stretch the legs of the SF23s here. As Nintendo then closing right in on Biggerwood, spending all of his boost. Biggerwood doesn't know at this stage, unless his engineer is watching his rival at the same time, the boost situation for the car in front. It looks like Biggerwood without any damage. Oh! I can't be blamed for that one. Surely, maybe I can. I'm calling this via replay, as you can tell. So, saying that at the exact moment that Biggerwood then, unfortunately, misses his braking zone. What on earth just went down for Biggerwood? And did that hurt Nintendo? It did hurt Nintendo in a big way. Senor Dude will be the beneficiary of that one. And unfortunately, Biggerwood, I don't know if Biggerwood had a total disconnection. He did have a total disconnection. No, he just dropped all the way to 12th. Oh, that is heartbreaking, because he had an absolute crazy good run through the race there. If it was a 20-lap race, Biggerwood would have been in a tremendous position. Here is Senor Dude going all the way around Nintendo, and I was speculating that Biggerwood would be able to regain that P8 earlier on with the amount of boost he had, but that's exactly what Senor Dude is doing right now in P8 and getting ahead of Nintendo just with the use of the boost. I kind of hate to see it, to be honest. I think I would rather see the cars without boost, maybe for some races anyway, where we know we're going to get overtaking. I would love to see the boost much reduced, but these are the genuine SF23 cars. Biggerwood in 12th, massive damage on the car. This is going to really hurt, unfortunately, as he brings the car home. Jailhouse Chris, one of 3 Brits in the field, down in 13th, and Liquid Gecko in P14. But we've got a USA driver, Grinch, ahead of a Canadian, Scavvy, at the moment. How is that gap looking? It's grown, I would say. So Grinch to Scavvy, that looked like a driver into the pits, was it? In front of Grinch. Scavvy then, while he's got a huge amount of boost, I don't know if Scavvy has missed which button on his wheel is the boost button right now, because he really hasn't left himself a great deal of wiggle room here, and he hasn't got a great deal of fuel left in the car. I think the cars do still use more fuel, even though they're using the battery to boost. The engines are being overridden essentially with that battery boost. So I think it continues to use more fuel, and is that going to be a problem for the drivers as we come to a close? So Grinch on less fuel as well than Scavvy, but of course he has used his boost, so that would bear out. Thump in P3 managed to get by Monsieur Keith there. Monsieur Keith running around on those very used mediums. I don't know if he's had a particularly slow lap. Nothing that stands out, but Thump's pace has picked up towards the end of this stint. It's clearly an area that Thump has been working on. It's been stint consistency and keeping something in reserve for later on in the race, and that is working out really well. Tell you what though, Nigel Mansnail, this is looking like a very, very good race. I try to take my my British blinkers off here, but for now, this is looking like a very, very good recovery from Nigel in P5. He's got a chance at P4 here for Brokaga, and that would be great for any neutrals to see 3 different teams in the top 5. I think we will see a very good payday for both Brokaga and PSV. Jogon Sim for Hector Motorsports out in 6th position, with Yank the Tank in 7th. Got plenty of performance left in his Agala. Senor Dude running in 8th with AMAC in 9th. 10th is Nintendo ahead of John P. Nintendo with difficulty there with that. I don't know if Biggerwood did have some sort of equipment failure, or whether it was a cerebral failure for a moment, but it certainly has hurt Nintendo's race as John P comes to try and take advantage. Of course, the car will be at its strongest. There, they've changed the rear shark fin livery for Hector. They've put the white on purple. Unless it's just one side. Let me have a quick look. A good boost overtake. No, they have changed it on the car. I was asking them to. I think that looks better. Thank you for that, team designers of the beautiful Hector Motorsports team. Nintendo in 11th, Liquid Jailhouse Chris in 12th, with Gecko in 13th, and Biggerwood at the back now. Hasn't pitted. It's just gonna come home and bookend this race for the Cyan racing team. So Grinch, 42.6 his last lap. I think it will be an attempt here to at least bring this home, but I think Scavvy's leaving it too long and not even using any boost at the end of the race for Scavvy. Maybe he's concerned about the fuel usage and getting home. That would be the only thing that could stop SirGrinch here out of the hairpin. We have a short S's section run then to go. I think he could run out of fuel, as he does in fact lap his teammate before the end of the race. That has got to feel quite interesting for SirGrinch, who was lapped 3 times in Tokyo last season. What a turnaround for SirGrinch. He's celebrating before the line. Grinch wins at Tokyo. What a fantastic thing to say after last season. Grinch wins a very, very strong race there. And Scavvy home. Is he in low fuel mode? He's okay. To the line, nothing left in the tank for Scavvy except the boost, with Thump across the line in 3rd place. Great performance from Thump. Mushokeef in 4th, and Nigel Mansell, for me, a driver of the day performance, I would probably say, right behind Mushokeef as they congratulate each other on a hard fought battle. Joe Gonsim home with no fuel, but with enough performance in hand over P7 for Yank the Tank, our former championship leader. I would imagine at this point to come home in P7 would have seen that gap dropping, or heard that gap dropping from his engineer, I imagine. AMAC is coming through to take home 8th place unchallenged, and we have John P not far away. Senor Dude with a good recovery to come home in 10th, but it's got to be a long and thankless day for Senor Dude. But Nintendo in 11th. Can he bring this car in the end home ahead of Jailhouse Chris? It's been a bad day for Mega, but they come home in 10th and 12th. And Liquid Gecko home ahead of Biggerwood in 13th and 14th. SirGrinch then, your winner, ahead of Scavvy and Thump. A very, very enjoyable race. Let's go on to the race results screen, something that we can do. We'll be out at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Formula divisions, the single-seater divisions here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the 19th of April for a 35-lap feature race only. And let's have a quick look at the race results then. And there you can see some of our supporters on the bottom of every page. A night race it was, of course. And we'll have a quick look there at some of the penalties. So we've got a penalty for Nigel Mansell has come in, and that is a very, very busy penalty. If you want to look at all of these results in full, of course, go to svr-racing.com. But all the decisions have been secured, and you can probably even find little clips of how the evidence that the stewards used to make those determinations. Mansell, though, 2 lots of 10 seconds and 2 lots of 2 point. I'm going to have to take driver of the day away from Nigel Mansell as a result of that decision, unfortunately. But he did still come home in P5. I'm going to have to come up with a new driver of the day, and I think my gut tells me that should be Joe Gonsim. So once again for Joe, but I will definitely hear arguments against that. 3 places gained. Hobbit, 7 places gained. Sorry, Joe, I'm going to change my mind. Hobbit up into P4 with a good run there, running his PSV Racing team. Check out PSV Racing, check out Yank the Tank, Weber Red 5, and of course us here on this channel, SVR Racing. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time spent with us. It's been very, very enjoyable to enjoy the time with you. And we will be back with you very soon, of course, in our G Division. We're taking a break over the Easter weekend for those that celebrate. But a big thank you to one and all. My name's Webbo, and this has been SVR Racing's S2 Round 3 of the 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship. Thank you for watching. We will catch you on the next race day.